Well, good morning. Happy hump day to everybody. Hope you are doing well on this Wednesday. We're at the third game on July the 7th between the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Indians from Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. Singles are 1-11 both sides. Home runs a little bit better for righties, 11, where lefties are an 8. It's game 571 in the replay. One roster move, the Indians sent down or either got injured their reliever Mike Armstrong. And in their place, they picked up a pitcher named Reggie Ritter, called him up. So Reggie Ritter, don't know anything about Reggie Ritter, but he's on the roster. He's 1-1 with a 6.0 ERA, did pitch 27 innings. Right-hander Reggie Ritter is available in their bullpen. He is a fresh arm in their bullpen. So that is the roster move for Cleveland. Kansas City comes in the game 43-38. Cleveland comes in 31-50. Pitching matchup, two right-handers, Mark Gubicza for the Royals and Ken Schrom for the Tribe. Look at Gubicza later. Right now, focus on Ken Schrom and what he has done. Good morning, Dan. A little bit later starting than I wanted, but that's okay. Things happen. And so you don't get the exact starting time you'd like, but we're here. That's the main thing. So we're going to take a look as soon as I bring it up on the Strat computer. That's the one thing I forgot to open was the Strat computer. So I need to open them up or open this up so we can get to the game and I can score it as we play it and have stats available and all that good stuff. All right. So Ken Schrom, right-hander for the Cleveland Indians, 6-13 with a 6.50 ERA real world. So obviously not too good of a season there for Mr. Schrom. On the replay, Schrom has done a little bit better. He's 4-4 with a 5.15 ERA, 94 innings pitched, 110 hits, 44 walks, and 39 strikeouts. Ken Schrom has a unique characteristic where his wild pitch and balk rating are both the same. They're both 5. And he has a 0 hold. He's got a -1, but Rick Dempsey has a +1 for a net of 0. So Willie Wilson, typical leadoff man or usual leadoff man for Kansas City, will step in the box. Willie Wilson's hitting 277 on the replay, 2 homers, 18 driven in. He hit 279 in the actual season. And of course, before we start and unload the first pitch, we have the ceremonial first sip. What has since now become a long-standing tradition on this morning, on the channel in the morning games. Good morning, Joe. I know Gubicza used to do some announcing. I don't know if he still does or not. He might do, a specific team like the Angels or Royals or somebody. I'm not sure. He still does. Okay. That's pretty cool. I know he's ID Jester's favorite pitcher, just by the way he tried to pronounce his name as Gubicza. That was the inside joke there for a while. And that coffee was so good, I needed a second shot. All right, here's Willie Wilson to start us off. 6'3". Ground ball shortstop X, we're looking at Salazar. He's a 2E16. So we'll see if Salazar can make the play. 2-7, he'll get to that. E16. He's got to avoid 14 and 17. Those are the two numbers to avoid. And by 15, he barely does. But he does make the play. And not Salazar. What am I doing? It's supposed to be Franco, not Salazar. Boy, you got to wake up here. Should be Franco, not Salazar. Now, they're both 2s. So that stayed the same. But it's an E26. So let's go to E26. And there's still no 15 there. It's 12, 17, and 18. So it's Franco, not Salazar, that makes the play there. So Julio Franco was able to make the play. 1 away for Kevin Seitzer. Seitzer, third baseman for the Royals. And on the replay, he is hitting 298. 9 homers, 42 driven in. He hit 323 real world. That is a 4.9. And that's going to be a fly to center. 2 up, 2 down. Good start so far for Schrom. That'll bring up George Brett, first baseman. Brett hitting 279 on the replay, 8 homers, 19 driven in. He hit 290 real world. Or was it 280? Let me take a look here. 290. Yeah, that's what I thought. 2-5, and that's a double 1 to 2. 3 to 20 would be a single. That's a base hit for George Brett, 2-out single. And that'll bring up cleanup hitter Danny Tartable. Tartable on the replay hitting 312. 18 homers, 54 driven in. He had 309 real world. Something's in my throat here. I got to clear my throat for some reason. Here's Tartable. 310 for Tartable, and that's a base hit. There's an anti-clutch there, but the runner's not in scoring position, so that does not take effect. The single to the left will stand. And so back-to-back singles with 2 outs, and now the Royals have something cooking. For Frank White, in a clutch situation for Frank White. White in the clutch gains 1 hit on 312. That's it. Everything else he is neutral. White hitting 231 on the replay, 10 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 245 real world. 610, and that's a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Jacoby. He's a 4E25. 4 to 13, he'll get to that. 4 to 13 is going to be a G3, just fine. E25 at third base. He's got to avoid 6, 8, 13, 15, and 17. And he does, barely, but he makes the play and ends the inning. So a shaky inning there for Ken Schrom and the Tribe, but they get through it unscathed. We go to the bottom of the first. Kansas City nothing, and Cleveland coming to bat. And it will be Gubicza getting the start for the Royals. We'll go to Gubicza's card. Oh no, we're getting circles. Are you kidding me? Ah, come on. What's going on here? Why is it doing this? Now it seems like, Dan, it seems like it's going okay now. Did it fix itself? Has it been fixed? Are we back up to speed? I don't want to restart if I don't have to. Looks like we're back. I think we're back in business now. I think we are. Somebody can let me know differently if we're not, but I think we are. All right, so as I was about to say, Mark Gubicza, we'll get the numbers on him for real world. Mark Gubicza, he was 13 and 18 with a 3.98 ERA. It's a pretty decent ERA for having a losing record by 5 games, but that's just probably due mostly to lack of run support or bad fielding. One of the, maybe a combination of the two. Let's look at what he's done real world or in the replay. In the replay, he's done a little bit better for himself win-wise, but not so much ERA-wise. He's 7-5 with a 4.44 ERA. 116 innings pitched, 113 hits, 49 walks, 73 strikeouts. All right, I think we are back now after being so rudely interrupted with these circles in the sand. Hopefully we are back in business. We will see if we are back in business. See how this, make sure there's no problems here. I think everything is, let me do a test roll here. Yeah, looks like it's going all right. I'm going to hope so anyway. We are going to hope so. So I think we're back. Not sure what's caused the problem here because my internet still shows it's fine. So I don't know why it was giving me circles in the sand. It was just doing it. So we're going to Pick back up here at the bottom of the first after Kansas City went through the first inning with no score. And I'm going to go ahead and type in the score on the computer, rescore the first inning to get everything up to speed. We had Willie Wilson ground to short. We had Seitzer fly to center. Singles by Brett and Tartable. And then oops, hit the wrong button there. Let me back that up. Give Tartable a single, not a strikeout. He singles. And then White grounds to third. And that would end the inning. And now we're back in business. Now we're back to where we should be with Brett Butler stepping to the plate. As I was saying, he's hitting 355 on the replay, 7 homers, 22 driven in. He hit 295 real world, but it's be hard to keep Brett Butler off the All-Star team when he's hitting 355. That's just a tough thing to do. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm sure the outfield is going to be busy with guys contending for that spot. But hopefully we're back in business and ready to roll here. So Brett Butler will lead it off against Gubicza, or his ID calls him Gubicza. The 6-5, and that's going to be a fly to left. Mr. Bo Jackson makes the catch, 1 away. So 1 down. And that'll take us to second baseman Tony Bernazard. Bernazard on the replay is hitting 230, 9 homers, 35 driven in. He hit 250 real world. 5-8, and that is a 1 for a double. Anything else will be a single. And barely missed a double, but Bernazard will get the 1-out single. We'll see if he's going to look to run. Gubicza is a +1 hold, but Owens a -1 arm for a 0, net 0. So if Bernazard went, it'd be a 1-13. See if he can get a lead. He needs a 4 or a 6, 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. Doesn't get it, so he'll hold. And here's shortstop Julio Franco. Franco hitting 296 on the replay, 6 homers, 39 driven in. Hit 319 real world. 1-7 for Franco, and that's a double 1-2. Single 3-20, 2 stars. So single 2 stars, and that'll put runners at the corners with only 1 out. And Julio Franco will be looking to run, or at least try to get a good lead. He needs a 2 through 5. It doesn't get it, so he'll hold. So runners on the corners, and the ever popular Joe Carter, the ultimate underachiever. The ultimate underachiever, Joe Carter. Poster child for underachiever in this replay. Joe Carter is hitting 206 on the replay, 16 homers, 34 driven in. He hit 264 real world. Gubicza with 1 out, looking for that double play. 1-8 for Carter. Well, he might come through this time. 1-16 is a single. 17-20 is a double. Is a line out. And of course, you knew Joe Carter. This is Joe Carter we're talking about here, folks. This is Joe Carter we're talking about. You knew when he had a chance for a single 1-16 that he would find the 17 through 20 somehow or another. And lo and behold, he rolls a 17. Can't make this stuff up. It just happens. Cannot make this stuff up. 2 down, and here comes Pat Tabler, designated hitter. Tabler on the replay is, well, first of all, I got to put the line out in the books for Carter. So Tabler on the replay is hitting 323, 5 homers, 40 driven in. He hit 307 real world. It is a clutch situation. So in the clutch for Tabler, he's actually rated neutral. He's completely rated as a neutral player. Here's Gubicza to Tabler. It's a 4-7, and that's a walk. That's going to load the bases and push the can down the road here for Mel Hall. Bases loaded for left fielder Mel Hall. May be best known as his claim to fame might be that he was part of the along with Joe Carter, was part of the Rick Sutcliffe trade with the Cubs. Here's Hall. In the clutch for Hall, he's also rated neutral. No effect in the clutch. Gubicza to Hall. 2-7, and that's a strikeout. So again, they leave the bases loaded. Gubicza gets out of the mess. Played 1 inning here in Cleveland, and it's no score. And hopefully, Dan and everybody else, hopefully the stream is not choppy or anything. Yeah, I think it looks okay on my end as I'm watching through my phone, but never know how it's going all over the place. Hello, Jeremiah. Good to see you. Here's Jim Eisenreich, the designated hitter. He's hitting 241, a homer and 7 driven in. That's just in 29 at bats. He hit 238 real world. This is now a 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to center. Brett Butler puts that away. 1 down for Bo Jackson. Oh, let me tell you about Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson, 245 on the replay. 14 homers, 38 driven in. He hit 235 real world. And that is a 110. And that's a 1 for a single. Anything else, he lines it to short. And that's a liner to short. 2 down. And that brings up Angel Salazar, shortstop. Salazar hitting 223 on the replay. 2 homers, 15 driven in. He hit 205 real world. We get a 6-4. And that's a catcher X. We're looking at Dempsey. He's a 3E13 for Dempsey. A 3 with an E13. 3 and a 16 is going to be a foul out, straight old foul out. His E13 rating, there's a lot of numbers to avoid here. 3, 4, 6, and then 15 through 18. That is a 12, so he just did, he got lucky there and makes the catch to end the inning. That'll do it for the Royals. They go 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the second. Still nothing doing here in Cleveland. Gubicza back out, and he'll be facing Brooke Jacoby, Corey Snyder, and Rick Dempsey. Bottom third of the Cleveland order. Jacoby hitting 336 on the replay, 19 homers, 55 driven in. He hit an even 300 real world. 2-8 for Jacoby, struck him out. Second strikeout for Gubicza. Brings up Corey Snyder, right fielder. Snyder hitting 239 on the replay, 15 homers, 39 driven in. He hit 236 real world. 3-9, and that's a ballpark blast for Corey Snyder. It's a 1 to an 11 to put some runs on the board. And he's got it. Corey Snyder, home run, courtesy of Cleveland Stadium. For Corey Snyder, that is home run number 16 on the replay. He had 33 real world. It's also RBI number 40 on the replay. And he had 82 of those real world, and we're about halfway through, so he's pretty good pace to match his totals. So 1-0 Tribe, and here's Rick Dempsey. Dempsey, the catcher. He's hitting 203 on the replay, a homer and 12 driven in. He only hit 177 real world. He is almost at his amount of at-bats. He's had 133 at-bats in the replay. He only had 141 real world, so I'm wondering if he's going to be released, injured, or something, and another catcher might be coming along shortly to go along with Banda. We'll have to wait and see. 4-8 against Gubicza is a base on balls. So second walk issued by Gubicza. And that takes us back to the top of the order for Brett Butler. Butler flew to left his first chance. 6-10, and that's going to be a ground ball third base X. We're looking at Seitzer. 4E26. 420, that's a G1, chance for a double play. Got to avoid the error. E26, he has to avoid 10, 11, 15, and 17. Which 12 he barely does. but it'll be a double play. Around the horn, 5-4-3 double play. But Cleveland gets the run on the Snyder home run. And at the end of 2, it's Cleveland 1, Kansas City nothing. Top of the 3rd, number 9 hitter Larry Owen, the catcher, steps to the plate. On the replay, Owen is hitting a robust 104, a homer and 2 driven in. He hit 189 real world. 3-6 for Owen, struck him out. First strikeout for Schrom. And that'll break us to the top of the order for Willie Wilson. 6-4, and we just missed a home run chance. He would have had weak power, wouldn't have been a home run anyway, but 6-4 is a catcher X. Again, that is Dempsey, 3E13. 3-8 as a catcher. 3-8 is would be a possible pass ball, but nobody's on base, so we're just looking at a pop out. And again, he has to avoid, as an E13, he's got to avoid 3, 4, 6, and 15 through 18. And this time he does not avoid it, so it'll be a problem for Dempsey. E13, and that is a 15. That is an error. E1 on the P/P. So look at P/P and E1 batter. Now this has changed it around. It was going to be a foul out or a pop out, and now it's saying it's a squibber. Now it's saying it's a squibber. So instead of it being a foul out with the batter still at bat, the super advanced chart is saying that it's actually going to be a squibber that Dempsey doesn't get to right away or handle correctly. So it'll be an E2 on Rick Dempsey. Wilson's at first. He's going to be looking to get a good lead. That's a 1. He might be picked off. His get back number is 15. 1 to 15, he gets back. 16 to 20, he's picked off. He's picked off. So Willie Wilson gets picked off by Ken Schrom. Schrom with quite the move there. And Wilson is picked off. So 2 out spaces empty all of a sudden for Kevin Seitzer. 3-10 for Seitzer. He flies to left to end the inning. So the error by Dempsey doesn't amount to anything. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's still 1-0 Cleveland. Gubicza back out. Will face Bernazard, Franco, and Carter. Bernazard, first time up, single. 4-3, and that's a fly to left field. X looking at Bo Jackson. He's a 4, E14. 4-9 might drop for a hit. In fact, I think it will. 4-9 will drop in for a base hit. E14, and that is a 12. E14, there's a 12 here as well, so it would be a base hit plus a 2-base error on Bo Jackson. With that E14, he gets the 2-base error. So Bernazard will get the base hit, and then he will go to 3rd on a 2-base error by Bo Jackson. Now each team has committed an error. And now Bernazard is at 3rd base with nobody out. And Julio Franco, the batter. Royals will play the infield in. That's a 2, balk a pass ball. Look at a balk chance on Gubicza. His balk chance is a 2. No balk. Here's Franco. 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Gubicza. He needed it big time. 3rd strikeout of the game for him. Now he gets to face Mr. Joe Carter. Infield still in. That is a 2-11, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1 to an 11 for Joe Carter. And he does get the base hit this time. The D20 was actually kind. So an RBI single for Joe Carter. That's his 35th run batted in of the season. He had 106 real world, but he's only had 35 so far. And we're halfway through the season. But the Tribe take a 2-0 lead. Here's Pat Tabler. (6-2), and that's a line out to short. 2 down. For Mel Hall. (5-3) for Hall is a ground ball first base C, so Brett will get it. Flip to Gubicza covering to end the inning, but Cleveland gets the run. It is unearned, an unearned run, but they count all the same. If we go to the fourth, it's 2-0 Cleveland now. Kansas City trying to catch the Oakland A's. They can't afford to lose to low-ranked teams like Cleveland. These are supposed to be gimme games. But I guess nothing's gimme in baseball. Even the worst team can beat the best team once in a while. So Cleveland with a 2-0 lead after 3. We go to the fourth, and here's George Brett. 5-6 for Brett is a ground ball shortstop X. Franco, 2E26. 215 is good. As an E26 shortstop, just has to avoid 12, 17, and 18. Pretty simple. Just avoid 12, 17, and 18. And he does. So Franco makes the play on Brett. 1 away. For Danny Tartable. Tartable singled his first trip. 210 for Tartable. That's a ballpark blast for Danny Tartable. It's 1-11 on the ballpark blast. And it's gone. Danny Tartable gets on the Royals on the board with a solo shot. Again, that was the 210 roll, which put us right at the ballpark blast. It's 1-11. D20's an 8. So for Tartable, that is his 19th home run of the replay. He had 34 real world. And it's also RBI 55. He had 101 real world. Cuts the lead to 2-1 on the home run from Danny Tartable. And here comes Frank White. 5-3. Fly ball right field X. We're looking at Snyder. He's a 2E11. 2-2. That's going to drop almost assuredly. 2-2 is a single. E11. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 13, 15, 16, and 18. And a 14, I think he's going to actually be okay with that. E11, there is no 14. There's a 13, 15, and 16, but no 14. So no error, but it will drop for a base hit for Frank White. 1 out single to White. Takes us to the DH, Jim Eisenreich. 5-7, and that is a ground ball second base X. Chance for a double play, perhaps, but Bernazard is a 4. 4-13 is most likely a fielder's choice. Let's take a gander. 4-13, and it's actually not even a fielder's choice. 4-13 is only play to first. So we know White's going to take second base regardless. Checking for an error. Bernazard is an E22. Got to avoid 12, 17, and 18, which he does. So 4-3 ground out number 2. Going to second is Frank White. And now that brings up a clutch situation for Mr. Bo Jackson. And in the clutch for Jackson, he will lose a hit 3-10. And also 2-3. 1-8, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. Second strikeout for Schrom. Royals get on the board on a Tartable homer, but the Tribe still lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Gubicza back out, and he'll be facing the bottom of the order, Jacoby, Snyder, and Dempsey for the Tribe. Oh, that one missed. Let's redo that. 2-8 for Jacoby. That's a strikeout for Gubicza. That is his 4th. One away for Corey Snyder. Snyder homered his first time up. 3-2. He's going to homer again. This time he didn't need the ballpark's help. This is what is known as a clean as a baby's bottom home run right here. 3-2 straight up. 3-2, 3-3, and 3-4 are all home runs right off the bat. So Corey Snyder, his second home run of the game, 17th of the replay. And the Tribe get that run right back. Corey Snyder, second home run of the game for Snyder. Again, home run number 17, RBI number 41. Brings up Rick Dempsey. 1-7 for Dempsey. Struck him out. Strikeout number 5. For Brett Butler, top of the order, he is 0 for 2. 5-4, make him 0 for 3 as he flies out to Willie Wilson. But a run there by the Tribe on the home run from Snyder makes this a 4-2 game as we head to the top of the 5th. This is the fatigue inning for Ken Schrom. He does have a little 5 there, so keep an eye on his fatigue level. He'll be facing Salazar, Owen, and Wilson for the Royals. Salazar, first time up, fouled out to Dempsey. 6-6. This time he gets a solid double off of Schrom. Solid double for Angel Salazar. Comes Larry Owen. 2-6 for Owen, and he will draw the base on balls. That is actually the first walk from Schrom. But the number 8 and 9 hitters for Kansas City have put runners on the bases, and now they turn it over to the top of the order. Trying to make some hay here. Willie Wilson. He's 1 for 2. That's a 5-9, and that's a fly to center. Butler puts it away, 1 down. Both runners retreat back to their bases. For Kevin Seitzer. 3-9 for Seitzer. He walks, and that's going to load the bases for George Brett. Bases are loaded for the veteran George Brett. With 1 out here in the top of the 5th of a 3-1 game, tying runs and actually the go-ahead run are on the bases. Ken Schrom is now tired because he's given up 3 base runners in his fatigue inning. So let's look at the Cleveland bullpen and see who they might be turning to. Again, they got the new arm, Reggie Ritter, but I don't think they want to bring him in on a high leverage situation like this. They actually have Sammy Stewart loosening in the bullpen. So Sammy Stewart is loosening, but they're going to stick with Schrom and see if he can get out of this inning, if at all possible. But if he hits a dot, he's going to have to come out. So Schrom to George Brett, and runners are with the bases loaded. They're going to play back for a double play. Maybe 1 pitch gets Schrom out of the inning. 4-6. Nope, not going to do it this way. 1-6 is a double. 7-20 is a single. That'll be a single 2 stars, and that'll be it for Schrom. 2 runs come across the plate. We are tied at 3 apiece. And they will go to the bullpen for Sammy Stewart. So Schrom, he's given up 3 runs, but he's also responsible for these 2 runners, so he could actually lose this game. Can't do the complete numbers on Schrom. We did know he goes 4 1/3, and we do know that he will give up 6 hits, and he walks 2 and strikes out 2. So now Sammy Stewart is on, and we'll bring Sammy Stewart on the computer and check out Stewart's numbers, real world and replay. So Stewart, 4-2, 5.67 ERA and 3 saves, and he'll be facing Danny Tartable Runners at the corners and 1 out. Infield's still looking for that magical double play, if he can get it. 5-2, and that's a ballpark blast off of Sammy Stewart. 1-11 for Tartable. It would be a 3-run home run. But it's a deep fly to left. It will be a sacrifice fly as it defaults to a fly ball B. So it is a sacrifice fly. Seitzer, and the Royals take the lead 4-3. 2 down now for Frank White. 6-7, and that's a 1-3 single. Anything else he lines to third, and he will line it to Jacoby to end the inning. But 3 runs come in for Kansas City. And close the book now on Schrom. He's going to be charged with all 4 runs. He's on the hook for the loss unless Cleveland can somehow eventually tie this game or take the lead. He's going to be on the hook for the loss. And now getting refreshed with some run support is Mark Gubicza. Going to see what he can do to keep things where they are. He's going to be facing Tony Bernazard to start things off here in the 5th. The 3-5 for Bernazard struck him out. Strikeout number 6 for Gubicza. I'll send up Julio Franco. 2-10 for Franco, and he grounds it to Salazar. 2 down. For Joe Carter. 5-11, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-11. Base hit for Carter. He's 2 for 3. I believe both those came on ballpark singles. Carter's actually going to try to steal. He's going to try to get a good lead. That's a 2, so that means it's a potential balk on Gubicza. His balk rating is a 2. No balk, but that means Carter can no longer get a good lead. So he will have to hold. And here is Pat Tabler. 6-12, ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Salazar, 2E16. 220 is good, E16, and a 9. Should be a fine. E16, the only errors are 14 and 17, so the 9 is just fine. And that will end the inning. So we go to the 6th. It's Kansas City 4, Cleveland 3. And now Stewart will come back out and pitch the 6th inning as well. And he'll be facing the designated hitter, Jim Eisenreich. 3-6 for Eisenreich, struck him out. 1 away for Bo Jackson. Bo is 0 for 2. 3-4. That's a home run, 1-14, double 15-20. 17. We got a double for Bo Jackson. Couldn't quite get the home run. He does get the double. That's his 10th double of the season. He had 17 doubles real world. And here's Angel Salazar. 4-6, and that's a strikeout for Stewart. 2 down. For Larry Owen. 3-6 for Owen, struck him out. So that'll do it for Stewart. He's going to go an inning and 2/3. And he's going to strike out 3. Give up 1 hit, no runs. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. And Cleveland will bring in Reggie Ritter, their new pitcher and freshest arm. He will come in and pitch the 7th inning. Reggie Ritter. But right now it is Gubicza time. Top of the or bottom of the 6th for Gubicza. Still holding a 4-3 lead. And Mel Hall, the batter. Hall, Kobe, and Snyder. And Snyder's homered twice. That is a 1-5 for Mel Hall, and that's a base hit. Leadoff single for Hall. And that'll bring up Brooke Jacoby, third baseman. He is struck out twice. 6-11. That's the ground ball first base X. They were not holding Hall on, so Brett maintains his 3-12. 3-15. 3-15 is a G1. It's potential double play. His error rating is a 12 at first base, so he's got to avoid 6, 9, 15, and 18. And that's a 14, so he just does it. So it will be a 3-6-3 double play. Nicely turned by Brett and Salazar. 2 quick outs. And here comes Corey Snyder, who's homered twice. See if he has any more magic left. Against Gubicza. 4-6. Nope, this time Gubicza strikes him out. Strikeout number 7, and that's going to end the inning. So we go to the seventh inning here at Cleveland, and the new pitcher will be Reggie Ritter. Right-hander, Reggie Ritter. So we'll bring Ritter on in the bullpen, from the bullpen on the computer, get his numbers. I believe this is his debut for the 87 season. Might even be his major league debut for all I know. Certainly has not pitched in the replay, that's for sure. So in limited duty, he had 27 innings pitched. He was 1-1 with a 6.08 ERA, 27 innings pitched, 33 hits, 16 walks, 11 strikeouts. If you're into whip, he's a 1.81 whip. He does have a nice fatigue rating of 3, so if he pitches well, he could actually finish the game. Gives him some nice depth in the bullpen, I guess you want to call it. And he'll be starting out facing Willie Wilson. 6-6, and that's going to be a double 1-8, single 9-20, and that's a double for Willie Wilson to start things off. I'll bring up Kevin Seitzer. 6-2, and that's a ballpark blast. It's a 1-11 for Kevin Seitzer, and that's gone. So back double and a home run from Reggie Ritter, and a very inauspicious debut for him, as he's been taken to the woodshed early. That's the 10th home run of the season for Seitzer. He had 15 of them real world. RBIs 43 and 42. And now the Royals lead it 7-3. And Ritter getting a rude awakening to his season debut. Here's George Brett. 2-9 for Brett. Gets him the ground to first. And Carter takes it to the bag himself, 1 away. That'll send up Danny Tartable. 6-7, and that's going to be a ground ball to second X. Looking at Bernazard, 4-22. 4-4, that's going to get through for a base hit. 4-4 will be a single. E22, he's got to avoid 12, 17, and 18, which he does, but it's going to be a base hit for Tartable. He's now 3 for 3 is Tartable. 2 singles, a homer, and a sacrifice fly. He's bucking for player of the game. Here is Frank White. Oh, that one went over the edge. Let's redo that. There we go. 1-3 for Frank White, and that's a home run, 1-9, double 10-20, and that's a double for Frank White. Tartable runs at a 14, Nothing Hill's a 15. 1-15, they're going to send him home. 0 arm here. They will have to throw, which means Frank White will take third on the throw, but it's a 1-15 to get Tartable at the plate. And they got him. So nice play there by Butler and Franco on the relay. So it's going to go 8-6-2 to throw Tartable out at the plate, trying to score on a double by Frank White. White doubles, but they turn the out on the 8-6-2 double play. Not double play, but 8-6-2 relay play. Going to third is, of course, Frank White. He does take third on the throw. And now with 2 outs, Jim Eisenreich, your batter. 1-6, and that's a triple. 1 to an 11. 12 to 20 is a double. Another double. 3 doubles and a home run and a single given up by Ritter this inning. 3 runs are now in. And it's now 7 to 3. And here's Bo Jackson. This might be Ritter's only inning. I don't know. 6-8 gets him to ground to short, and that'll end the inning. But 3 runs come in. Very inauspicious debut for Mr. Ritter. We go to the 7th inning stretch, and one guy that's loving that is Mark Gubicza. He's getting all this run support. Makes his job a whole lot easier. He's now got a 7-3 lead to work with. Somehow Cleveland turned a 3-1 lead into a 7-3 deficit, probably because they're Cleveland. Probably no other explanation needed, just the fact that they're Cleveland. I mean, there's a reason why Major League did their story around the Cleveland Indians, because they're so inept. So Dempsey will lead things off against Gubicza. 5-9, and that's a triple. 1 to 5, single 6 to 20. That'll be a triple, but I don't think Dempsey didn't have any triples, so we're going to modify him to a double. Double for Rick Dempsey to start things off. Here's Brett Butler. 6-11. That's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Brett. He's a 3-E-12. 3-18 is good. E12. E12 and a 10 should not be a problem. It is not. So it'll be going to third is Dempsey, and then Butler is out 3-1 for out number 1. One down for Tony Bernazard. Infield, of course, is back for Kansas City. They'll give up the run. 4-9, and that's a walk. So now one more base runner, and Gubicza will reach his fatigue. So I have to keep an eye on that. For Gubicza, that is his 3rd walk. Brings up Julio Franco. Franco is 1 for 3. 3-9 for Franco, and that's a split. 1 to 7 is going to be a single. 8 to 20, he will line out to short. And that's a single for Franco. That will score the run. Dempsey will come in to score. That cuts the lead to 7-4. And now Gubicza has reached fatigue. And we'll see if they want to try to get him through the inning if possible. Going to face Joe Carter, clutch situation. Well, it's not a clutch situation. It's only 1 out. Looking at the Kansas City bullpen, which has been kind of overworked. So they really would like Gubicza to finish out this inning. Let's see here. Bob Stoddard, I think, is not too overworked, but he's not very good either. Stoddard, well, he's not bad. 1-3, 4.28 ERA. So Bob Stoddard is loosening in the bullpen, but they'd rather get Gubicza to get through the inning if at all possible. So they're going to let him pitch to Joe Carter, but if he hits one of these dots, he'll have to come out. Joe Carter, the batter. 6-10, and that's a ground ball third base X. Kevin Seitzer is a 4. 4-8. He may get lucky and get somebody out. He will. G3 means to go to first. The pound's irrelevant because he's not responsible for holding anybody on. So both runners will advance. Now we'll make sure there's no error on Seitzer. E26, he's got to avoid 10, 11, 15, and 17. And 12, he just barely does. So the play is made to first to get Carter. Both runners move up 90 feet to second and third. And now the baton is passed to Pat Tabler. Clutch situation, second and third, 2 outs. Tabler is the tying run at the plate. Gubicza is fatigued. He's trying to get through this inning and avoid the dots. It's a 1-7, and he does. He strikes out Tabler to end the inning, and that's going to do it for Gubicza. He'll finish with 8 strikeouts. Gives up the 1 run, but all in all, not a bad outing by Gubicza. 7 innings pitched, 4 runs. And we'll go to the Strat computer and get the full numbers on Gubicza. See how he did. Sure I don't mess up any of the totals. Gubicza, 7 innings pitched, 10 hits, 4 runs, only 3 were earned, as we had that 2-base error by Bo Jackson that allowed a run in the third. He walked 3, struck out 8. And Bob Stoddard will be coming on to pitch for the Royals in the 8th inning. Now, what do you do with Ritter? Do you bring him back, or do you give him another chance, or do you pull him right away? I think because they're facing the bottom of the order, they're going to start with Ritter. However, they do have action in the bullpen. Not that their other bullpen arms are any better, but they do have Ed Vandenberg, a left-hander, loosening in the bullpen. So Salazar will lead things off against Ritter. Top of the 8th, 7-4 the score. 7 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error for Kansas City. 4 runs, 10 hits, and an error for Cleveland. So 112 for Salazar. He's going to line it right to Brooke Jacoby. And there's 1 away. That'll bring up Larry Owen, the catcher. 1-6, and he draws the base on balls. They'll send up Willie Wilson. And that's going to be it for Ritter. Knowing what Wilson and Seitzer did against Ritter the last time out, they're going to bring in Ed Vandenberg. So Ritter will go an inning and a third. He's going to give up 3 runs, although he is responsible for this run there. He's going to give up 5 hits, 1 walk, no strikeouts. And now Ed Vandenberg, the pitcher, the left-hander, the only left-hander in the Cleveland bullpen. So we'll go to the computer and bring in Ed Vandenberg. He has had a terrible year. So not a whole lot of confidence being shown to bring in Vandenberg, but they just don't have a whole lot of choices. They're a bad team. What can we say? Going to have to bring in bad pitchers at some point. And he's got to face a switch-hitting Willie Wilson. Vandenberg, real season for Vandenberg. He was 1-0 with a 5.10 ERA, which doesn't sound all that awful. But on the replay, he's 3-2 with 4 saves. I don't know how that ever happened, but he got a 7.29 ERA, 42 innings pitched, and 73 hits allowed. That's the big one right there. 73 hits allowed in 42 innings of pitching. So Wilson will step in against Vandenberg. He'll turn around, bat right-handed. That is a 3-10, and that's going to be a split. 1-5 is a single. 6-20 he lines out, and he will line it out to Franco for out number 2. Now he's got to get Kevin Seitzer. 3-10 for Seitzer, and he does get him. He gets him to fly to left field to Mel Hall to end the inning. So we can close the book on Ritter with the 3 runs. Vandenberg will come back and pitch the 9th. So we go to the bottom of the 8th, and new pitcher for the Royals will be Bob Stoddard. Stoddard is the new pitcher. And we'll get the numbers on Stoddard as well. Also have to bring him in on the computer. So we'll bring in Stoddard. Compare his real world numbers with his replay numbers. Bob Stoddard, real world, was, if I can get it to focus right here, was 1-3 with a 4.28 ERA and 1 save in 1987. Bob Stoddard. On the replay, Stoddard is 1-2 with no saves and a 5.65 ERA. 14 innings pitched, 18 hits, 9 walks, 9 strikeouts. And he will start out facing Mel Hall, the Hall, Jacoby, and Snyder in a 7-4 ball game. 5-9, and that's going to be a fly to center. Willie Wilson hauls it in. 1 down. And they'll send up Brooke Jacoby. 6-9, and that's a strikeout for Stoddard. I don't know if that's showing on there or not. No, they're okay. So we've got 6-9 for Stoddard. Is a strikeout. His first. Brings up Corey Snyder. 5-8, and that's a walk to Corey Snyder. Now we'll get a pinch hitter for Rick Dempsey, as he will be called back, and they will go to the bench for a pinch hitter. They don't have any good lefties off the bench, so they will go to right-hander Carmen Castillo, and then Chris Bando will catch the 9th inning. So Bando will come in and be the new catcher. But Carmen Castillo will get the pinch hitting call here in the 8th inning. We'll bring on Castillo on the computer. See how he's done on the replay versus real world. As Rick Dempsey was, well, Dempsey actually had a decent day, but his average is really bad. So I think you're definitely looking for a pinch hitter at this point. So Castillo is on. And on the replay, Castillo is hitting just 198, 4 homers, 11 driven in, but he did hit in the real season. He did hit 250 with 11 home runs. So Castillo looking to make something happen here. It's a 1-4, and it's a ballpark single check. So it's a 1 to an 11 for Castillo. And he gets the base hit. That keeps the inning going for Brett Butler, who is now the tying run at the plate. That's a 2, balk or pass ball. We're looking at a balk chance on Stoddard. And according to the Strat-O-Matic computer, because the cards don't have this information, Stoddard's balk is a 0. His wild pitch is a 20. So it's going to always be a wild pitch when he's called on it, but 0 balk. So here's Butler. 6-4, ground ball third base X. We're looking at Seitzer. 4E26, 4-7. Should be okay. 4-7 is a G3. So he'll get to it. It's just E26 at third base. 10, 11, 15, and 17. Got to avoid those. And he does. Does not, I should say. That's a 9. That's an 11, I should say. So that should be an error. E26 and an 11 is an error on Seitzer. So it took me a second to calculate all those up, but that is in fact an 11. And so on the E26 and 11 is a 1-base error, and that will load the bases. There's an E5 on Seitzer, second error by Kansas City. Bases are now loaded for Tony Bernazard. Can't blame Stoddard. I mean, he got the pitch he needed, but the defense kind of let him down there. And now we're looking at Bernazard. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Bernazard in the clutch will lose some hits. 110, 2-9, 210, and 312. So he loses 4 hits in the clutch. That's a 1. So we know Stoddard's going to commit the wild pitch because we've already seen he's a wild pitch of 20. So that will bring home a run and move everybody else up 90 feet. On the wild pitch makes it a 7-5 game now. And here's Bernazard. 5-8, and that's a fly to right to end the inning. The run comes in. It's an unearned run. So Stoddard will go 1 inning, give up an unearned run. And let's see, he gave up 1 hit, a walk, and a strikeout. And they will turn to Mr. Quisenberry, I do believe, or either Steve Farr, one of the two, to try to secure the save because they just can't afford to lose this game. Cleveland, on the other hand, will come back with Ed Vandenberg here in the 9th of a 7-5 ball game. And George Brett will do the leading off. And before I can go anywhere further, the computer is telling me Chris Bando has to come in and catch, unless we want Carmen Castillo to catch, which would not be a good idea. So we'll bring Bando in to catch. And now Brett will face Ed Vandenberg. It's a 5-4, and that's a pop-up to short. 1 away for Danny Tartable. Tartable, pretty much a perfect day. 3 for 3, home run, 2 singles, and a sac fly. That is a 4-7, and he gets another hit. So his 4th hit of the game for Danny Tartable. Assuming the Royals hang on and win this game, he is undoubtedly the player of the game. Here's Frank White. 1-7 for White. That's a walk. Puts runners at first and second, and we'll get a pinch hitter for Eisenreich with the lefty up there. They're going to bring in a right-handed DH. Somebody can DH from the right side, and that's going to be that will end up being Juan Benitez. Or do we go to Balbona? They're going to go to who? Who do they go to here? Man, tough call on all of these. They're going to go to Juan Benitez, the pinch hit. And he'll stay in the game to DH. So Juan Benitez will come on and pinch hit for Eisenreich. Let's get Benitez's card. There he is, Juan Benitez. Benitez on the replay is hitting 269. 6 homers, 29 driven in. He hit 251 real world. First and second, 1 out. Benitez facing Vandenberg. It's a 6-7. Ground ball second base X. Chance for Bernazard to do something. 4 and a 10. Nobody's being held on base. So 4-10 is going to be a G3. The runners will advance. We know they will go up 90 feet. I know Benitez is now the DH. So now we're going to look for an error chance on Seitzer. And he is, not Seitzer rather, but Bernazard. He's an E22 at second base. Got to avoid 12, 17, and 18. And he does. So the play is made 4-3 with the runners moving up 90 feet. And now that's going to bring up Bo Jackson in a clutch situation against Vandenberg. Bo Jackson loses some hits, 110, 112 in the clutch against Vandenberg. First base is open, and he could pitch to Salazar, I suppose. But then you're loading the bases, and a walk would bring home a run. So they're going to go ahead and pitch to Bo Jackson. 6-6, and he struck him out. Good move to stick with Vandenberg against Jackson, and he struck him out to end the inning. So that's it for Vandenberg. Vandenberg will go an inning and 2/3. He is going to give up 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and a strikeout. So it's down to this, bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Tribe. And they'll have to do it against one of the closers for the Royals, either Quisenberry or Steve Farr, depending on who has the freshest arm out there. So let's take a look at the bullpen. They don't trust Stoddard to close this thing, so they're going to go to one of their veterans. Let's see here. Quisenberry. He's definitely been overworked. Farr has been a little bit overworked, but not as much as Quisenberry. So Farr will come on, and somehow or another, I've used Farr, to pardon the pun, far differently than they did Real World. Farr only had one save Real World. I've already got him for 10 saves in the replay because I just been he's been effective, so I've been using him as a closer. Farr 4-3 with a 4.15 ERA and one save Real World. But on the replay, he is 3-3 with 10 saves and a 4.02 ERA. 54 innings pitched, 50 hits, 34 walks, and 49 strikeouts. So Steve Farr is on, and he will pitch to Franco, Carter, and Tabler, the heart of the order for the Tribe in this 7-5 ball game. Royals desperately need to win to keep pace with the Oakland A's. Here's Franco. 5-5, and that's going to be a strikeout for Steve Farr. And that'll bring up Joe Carter. 4-7, and that is a base hit, 1-14. Line out, 15-20. And that's a base hit. Carter actually has 3 hits today. That brings up the tying run, Pat Tabler. Carter can run. Farr is a +5, actually a +4 on his hold. But boy, if you run, you better make it. He's going to try for the lead. Joe Carter is going to try for the lead. Oops. He needs a 2 through 5. Doesn't get it, so it doesn't matter. All right, Pat Tabler stepping to the plate. He is the tying run at the plate. 5-5, and that's another strikeout for Farr, his second. And now it's up to Mel Hall. Or this one's going to be in the books for the Royals. 5-9, and that's a strikeout. Farr comes in and strikes out the side to end the ball game and pick up his 11th save of the replay. He only had one Real World, but I like the way he pitches, so I've been using him in the save situations. Maybe the Royals should have done the same thing, and maybe they wouldn't have fired their manager. I don't know. But either way, that's going to do it. The winner is Gubicza. He's now 8-5. Schrom takes the loss. He's 4-5. And we'll get the totals and get you ready for tomorrow's game. So we go to the box score. Kansas City gets a very important win that they just couldn't afford to lose this game. 7 runs, 13 hits, and 2 errors for Kansas City. 5 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error for the Cleveland Indians. Player of the game, no question about it, Danny Tartabull, going 4 for 4 with a run scored and 2 RBI. A home run, his 19th of the season. So he is the winner of this one as far as player of the game. So now we look ahead to tomorrow and the schedule and see what's out there and see what the possibilities are as we head to the West Coast, I believe, is what we're going to do here for the last 2 games of the July 7th date on the stream. And we are looking at a couple of good matchups here. Detroit will be in Oakland, Tanana against Andujar, and also we'll have Milwaukee at Seattle. That is Juan Nieves against Lee Guterman. And the third possibility is Boston at California, Nipper against Mike Witt. So all those are certainly possibilities. Texas and Toronto will play offline. But the other 3, there's 2 out of 3 we get to choose from. So it's going to be a tough call to make as to which game I feel like is the best one to present. So I believe we're going to Anaheim Stadium tomorrow for the Boston Red Sox and the California Angels. It'll be Al Nipper against Mike Witt. Pretty decent pitching matchup. So that will be tomorrow. That will be tomorrow. Boston at California. Nipper against Mike Witt. And then on Friday, we'll have Detroit at Oakland. And that'll be Tanana against Andujar. And that'll wrap out the week of the 1987 replay. Tonight, the Colorado Rockies are back home. I'm sorry, they got their final game in Arizona before they come back home. They have their final game against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have won the first 2 games of the series. Rockies trying to salvage the 3rd game, and they're going to have a tough time doing it against Merrill Kelly and the Arizona Diamondbacks. That'll be tonight around 9:15, 9:30, something like that. So that's going to do it from here. Kansas City wins at 7-5, and with the victory by Kansas City, they inch a little bit closer to those Oakland A's. Kansas City now is only 4.5 back of Oakland. And if Oakland should lose to Detroit, it would be dropped to 4 games. So they're catching up a little bit. Toronto's still 7 back of Milwaukee in the East, but Kansas City has now pulled to within 4.5 games of Oakland. And in fact, Kansas City is only 1 game off their pace. They're now 44-38. Real world, they were 45-37. So, but Oakland's 4 games better than what they were real world. So that's what we have to look forward to on Friday is that Detroit-Oakland game. But tomorrow it is Boston and California. And California is 9 games back of Oakland. So they're definitely not close, but they're not so far away they can't catch up either. But that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday, whatever you have planned. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and we'll see you all down the road.